everyone, my name's Treena and it's great to be with you today. I bought some show and tell. My kids love doing show and tell at school and I thought I would bring in this fantastic pot that I made. I did an online pottery tutorial a few weeks ago and I made a pinch pot. I wonder if you've ever made one of these. What do you think? Pretty special? Would you love it? Okay, I know it's actually not that special. In fact, it's pretty ordinary. It hasn't been dried in a kiln. It hasn't been glazed. It's very rough. If you put it down, it wobbles. It's very uneven. And if you put anything wet in it, I think it would actually destroy it. It's pretty fragile and it's very, very wonky. But I wonder how you'd feel if I turned up at your place. Maybe you invited me around for a coffee or for dinner, and as a thank you gift, I presented you with my fragile, wonky pot. Now, I imagine most of you would probably be pretty gracious and very polite and would probably say, "Thank you, Treena, that's lovely." And then after I left, you'd probably put it in some kind of a cupboard, probably right up the very, very back. But what if my pot wasn't empty? What if over the last few months I'd kind of been scrounging around Bendigo and I'd found lots and lots of gold and I'd filled my pot up with it? I wonder if you'd be far more willing and happy and ready to take my pot from me if it was filled up with that kind of treasure. A number of years ago, I was on the governing council of our daughter's kindergarten. I've been wanting to get involved and to get to know people, and I thought, oh, the governing council would be a great place to do that, to encourage the staff and to be part of the kindy community. But as I sat in the very first meeting, I was there and there was some kind of financial whiz and an admin guru and a lady who did marketing at her work and another lady who had been their volunteer of the year at the kindy the year before. And I remember leaving and just feeling so discouraged and empty. And I said to the Lord, I just don't feel like I've got anything to give. Like, what do I have to offer to these people? And he very clearly said to me, "You've got me." And he led me to these verses in 2 Corinthians chapter 14. And Paul says, "You see, we don't go around preaching about ourselves. We preach that Jesus Christ is Lord, and we ourselves are your servants for Jesus' sake. For God, who said, 'Let there be light' in the darkness, has made this light shine in our hearts so that we could know the glory of God that is seen in the face of Jesus Christ. Now we have this light shining in our hearts, but we ourselves are like fragile clay jars containing this great treasure. This makes it clear that our great power is from God, not from ourselves. We're pressed on every side by troubles, but we're not crushed. We're perplexed, but we're not driven to despair. We are hunted down, but never abandoned by God. We get knocked down, but we are not destroyed." Now, this year we've been talking a lot about the mission of God in the hands of ordinary people. And these verses from Paul, as he speaks in the midst of suffering and hardship, really ring with that truth. And that as we come to Jesus, he fills us up with everything that he is. And this is what we have to offer to the people around us. As we live out our lives as disciples of Jesus, we have the opportunity to bring his presence into the lives of those around us. We may not have a pot filled with gold, but what we do have, we can offer to the people around us. And what we have to offer is far more valuable than gold. We carry with us, just as this clay pot could carry a treasure trove of gold, we have the kind of treasure that everyone needs. So imagine for a moment if I turned up at your house and instead of having a pot filled with gold, I told you instead it was filled with something like perhaps peace in the midst of your conflict. Maybe for you, you need contentment in the midst of hardship, or maybe comfort and healing in the sickness that you're facing. Perhaps you need a pot filled with hope in the face of death. Maybe you need wisdom for the decisions that you're facing today. Maybe it's light for the path, satisfaction for the soul, or maybe really what you need is a pot filled with forgiveness for the regret and the mistakes of the past. And really what all of us need is a pot filled with a deep and amazing relationship with the creator of the universe, our God. I wonder if I offered you a pot filled with those things, how quickly you would reach out and you would grab it. And today, this is what Jesus offers each of us. He offers us his comfort, his love, his life, his hope, his wisdom, his goodness, and his forgiveness. But even more than that, he fills us up, not just so that we can keep that for ourselves, but as Paul says, we hold this treasure in jars of clay, and it's God's light shining in us that we then get to offer to the people around us. So I wonder for you today, whether maybe you're feeling a bit fragile and a bit wonky, that God might be calling you to reach out to the people around you, to bring his presence, his life, and his hope to those around you in the midst of the season that you're in. Thanks, everyone.